Hey guys, it's Yuta. So, Japan just declared a state of emergency, but many people seem to be wondering what this is exactly about. So I'm going to walk you through it very quickly. First of all, it doesn't apply to the entire nation. It only applies to 7 prefectures, which are Tokyo, Saitama, Chiba, Kanagawa, Osaka, Hyogo, and Fukuoka. It's because of the rate of growth and also the percentage of cases that can't be tracked. So they decided that in the other prefectures, the situation is not so bad. And this is not exactly a lockdown, as Prime Minister Abe emphasized at the conference. The government can't force people to stay inside because the current laws and the constitution don't allow it. So they can only request or order without any penalties, except for a few cases which I'm going to talk about later. But the main thing is to request people to stay home, except for essential or urgent things. And they're trying to reduce the amount of interactions between people by at least 70 to 80%. Because according to our team of specialists, if we can achieve that, we can prevent rapid growth of cases. And some people think that since they're not forcing people to stay inside or forcing places to close, it won't change anything or it won't change much. But that's not necessarily true. I have a personal example. I've been trying to convince my family member not to go to work, but I wasn't successful. But because of the state of emergency, the shop decided to close. So for me personally, this helps a lot because now I don't have to worry about my family members. And a lot of other places announced that they will be closed. So it does have some effects. And in terms of the length, they said it's going to be until 7th May. So let me give you a few bullet points. And since the actual implementation of the state of emergency depends on the local government, I will give you some general views. First, in terms of going out, they request not to go out except for essential things like securing food or seeing the doctor. And also our Prime Minister Abe said, it's okay to go for a walk or go for a run. So apparently that's okay. Having said that, there's no restrictions in terms of going to different prefectures. So technically you can move around if you must. And in terms of public transportation, they will be operating as well. And other essential services like supermarkets, banks, ATMs, or pharmacies, they will be open. Now let's talk about schools because some of them were planning to be open. But because of this, they can now officially request schools to be closed. And if they don't, they can now order schools to be closed. So it has much more power. So it seems like they will be closed. But when it comes to work, it's a little bit ambiguous. Prime Minister Abe asked people to work remotely and if they can't, reduce the number of staff. But it seems like it's really up to the company, except for certain industries. Because with places like clubs or hostess clubs, they are more strict because we had some mass infection cases from these places. And they're also requesting places like karaoke places, driving schools, or cinemas to be closed. But when it comes to restaurants, they're not strictly asking them to be closed. But many major restaurant chains announced that some of their restaurants will be closed or they will close early. And of course, they are requesting events to be cancelled or postponed. Now, there's something they can do forcibly, and that is kind of confiscating land for emergency purposes, such as securing extra beds. And this one has penalties. But apart from this, they can either request or order without penalties. So that was the gist of the state of emergency, and I hope this was helpful. And since this is the first time we are experiencing something like this after World War II, so we don't really know what's going to happen exactly. And things can change anytime. So it's important to stay informed. But most information in Japan is in Japanese. So if you want to learn Japanese with me, I can teach you the kind of Japanese that Japanese people actually speak today. Because the kind of Japanese that textbooks teach you is often unnatural and old-fashioned. So click the link and subscribe to my email group, Japanese with Yuta. Alright, see you guys soon. Ciao, ciao!